this saltwater tank behind me was set up in 1989.
Still going from 89?
Yes. I did move it a few times, but I never had it down except to move it.
Okay.
Drive it to another spot, pour the rocks and the corals and the water back in, and flip it on.
Unreal. I love the halo effect that it's giving with the one light. Well, we are live. How are you, folks? We have 6 people already. That's a good start. This is my new friend, Orin McMonigle, who's over there, actually. And I'm getting some weird reverb, but that's okay. Hi, Orrin.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. Cool. So we are going to be trying to ignore the audience today. We'll see. We'll see how well I do, because I have a lot to ask. So now, I didn't go over your entire resume because it's vast. How long have you been in entomology, I guess? When did it start for you?
I'd say, obviously since I was really little, I liked reading entomology books. But I'd say probably my first accomplishment, I raised moths as a kid and kept some mantids. But my first big accomplishment was getting rhinoceros. I went to Florida in 1988, and I went collecting the Strategus antaeus, which is a really cute rhinoceros beetle. And it took me a couple weeks to figure out how. I went down to my uncle's house, and it took me a couple weeks to figure out how to collect them. And because they're in holes at nighttime, so for the first couple of weeks, I was only down there for less than a month. I thought I was going to come home with a bunch, and then after 2 or 3 weeks in, I had one that I found in the yard, and it was half dead. But then I found out you could catch them at nighttime, and so my first accomplishment was not finding them so much, but taking them home and putting and setting them up and breeding, getting eggs and larvae. And that was I always wanted to raise rhinoceros beetles for forever, and that was my first one ever was in 1988. That was my favorite rhinoceros beetle for a while, but also Dynastes tityus, which is widespread across much of the U.S. Except the West and the far north.
Okay.
And that's it's also called like the Eastern Hercules beetle, the unicorn beetle.
Okay. Well, the unicorn beetle. I haven't seen them. I haven't branched out into beetles yet because I feel like when I do, it's going to be just this avalanche for me. It's going to be just beetle bins all over. Like one per tank, one per tub. And I don't know that I'm ready for that. But I think they're pretty long-lived, aren't they, surprisingly? Or do I have that wrong?
It depends. Like, this is like just a couple of million.
Quality camera work that we expect on Isopoddies. Yeah. That's just a little bit.
Right?
That's
my cameraman has something.
I got you. I want everyone to be comfortable. So if it's a yoga mat on the floor, that's fine. Right. So, and Chris, I do have a book. I have it right here because I'm going to quote it. So my audience is under no illusions. I was super intimidated to ask you. When I threw you the invitation to come on the show, I had no expectation that you would say yes. And you absolutely said yes immediately. And I then went, oh God, what do I do? What do I do now? Like, this is the guy, right? So I picked up a book, and this is the one everybody knows I'm into displaying animals. So I figured if the master of the craft could give me tips on exhibiting animals more than just keeping them in bins or whatever, I would take that advice. And so this book has actually transformed kind of how I'm going to be keeping in the future. Everything. There will be bins, of course, but I'm setting things up in a much different way. So the quote that settled me down We get to page 107. I don't have my glasses on. We get right here, tailless whip scorpions.
Remember, I may have read this like a long time ago. I may not remember.
This book is old. You probably don't remember this quote, but it's literally just a quote that put me at ease. Oh, this is 2011. So it's a 10-year-old, 12-year-old book. Yeah. Sold 12, 15 copies. So again, we're talking about tailless whip scorpions, and a lot of the book, it tries to shy away from, it seems to try to shy away from technical jargon, which I liked. It made it more accessible to me, the information, but it didn't dumb anything down. So the quote that I flipped through randomly was just, the walking legs are long, but the male palps are insane. And so that sentence humanized this whole situation for me so much. And it was just this random sentence that my eyes settled on, and I was like, I can breathe now. This is going to be great. So we got some good folks in here. All right. So it made it much easier to deal with. I expected, I don't know what I expected, because I only had stories, right? Because I Googled to see where else there's been interviews, there have been videos, and I couldn't find anything. I don't know if there's a secret name you use or something, but I couldn't find anything. Because I have my alter ego Johannes, so I understand.
No, if you look up pictures of me, there's a picture, at least on Google for a long time. There's just a picture of of a friend of mine, Peter, holding a millipede.
Yep. That was literally all I could find.
And the reason there's that picture of him is because he's holding a millipede called Florida bullous Orrin.
Yes, which is amazing. So how did that come about? So you discovered this species in Florida, I assume?
Sort of, not really. All right. I was working on I wrote a millipede book in 2005. And then it was, at that time, there was nobody who actually had any idea how to keep them alive or to breed them. At least that published or told anyone, or we didn't hide it or something.
Yeah.
So I put out a book with my experience on how to raise the different kinds of millipedes. And but when I updated it in 2012, which was a huge update, I was trying to get a hold of Florida bullous Penner, and a friend of mine sent me one, but he sent it from I can't remember now.
It's fine.
Ocala National Forest, or that area, and that was not where it's actually found. So I sent it to Shelly, and he's like, "Oh, that's chicken bullets." I'm like, "No, look at it again." And then he eventually said, "Oh, wait, that's a new species." Then he did an identification paper in 2014, and he said, "Do you want me to put your name on the paper?" And I said, "No, just put my name on the bug." Because
so smart.
I had, because I had actually quasi-discovered a cockroach in 2001 that was being kept, and I sent specimens to Dr. Roth. Both Shelley and Roth died in 2003, and he put it under Dorelia Orrin at Harvard University. Dr. Roth is probably one of the most famous cockroach taxonomists in history. And he put it under Dorelia Orrin, the cockroach. And unfortunately, it's still listed. It still is a type specimen under that name, but he never finished the paper because he died.
Okay.
So
there's not much you can do about that. That's a whole other sad animal.
Yeah. So it's like a temporary. It's a temporary name, and then so like when I had a chance with the millipede, I'm like, yeah, finally one that might actually work out. Fortunately, Shelley did make it through that paper. he only. Oh, never mind. I mean, he did die eventually, but not not in the middle of writing the paper.
So we're running out of entomologists now. I feel like there's a huge shortage.
Yeah, there probably are.
The good news is,
one thing that is funny is like.
Go ahead.
I've sold a lot. I haven't sold very many of the books. Some of the books are like really low, like I said, really low print run. Some are quite better, but they're just an artwork for me. They're never really finished. That's why I have to revise them because they're not, they're never perfect. Art is never finished; it's only abandoned. I totally lost my train of thought.
We were talking about running out of entomologists, and then you went into print runs. So I don't know where the train was.
Oh yeah. So now one of the cool things is I think the books have really helped people who are, like they're not real popular, but for the people who are really into them, it makes a huge difference. And I've had a few people who are like, hey, I read your book and I've decided to become an entomologist and I've dedicated my life to that. And I wanted to let you know. And like, I've had like 4 people. And like the first time they told me, I was like, oh man, I'm sorry. But just because, entomology is awesome, but the career choices are slim. Like there's not a lot of places you're going to make a lot of money.
It's like, oh my God, I ruined your life. Oh no.
Sorry about that.
Whoops. Apologize to your wife or girlfriend for me. Yeah, my wife is so she's like, how many more of these animals? She's like, you're having this Orin McMonigle on tonight? Like, what buying next? What is going to be in our basement next? I'm like, I don't know, probably beetles, roaches, whatever. It's over. Yeah, it's an obsession. It just becomes an obsession so fast. So I think it's great that you've inspired people to come on and be entomologists or try to get into it that much anyway.
I hope none of those. I'm hoping none of those 4 people are going to see this, but
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say probably not. We have a pretty limited audience. They're very dedicated, very great people, but there's not that many of them. More every day. So when you started publishing, you were editor at magazines, you were basically deciding what was making it into these magazines. Like that had to be a huge responsibility because there's a lot, like you said, like there's people discovering species relatively often, right?
Yeah, although a lot of the species that are discovered now, they're just like, like the whip scorpions or the vinegaroons in that book, like they were originally 2 species, and then they were synonymized as 1 species, and then somebody came out, and now there's like 7 of them or something. But they all look exactly the same, and you can only tell them apart by genetic tests. Like there's these little walking sticks in California. I think there were a few species, now it's like 22. So so not all these discoveries are. Yeah, they're just. I don't know.
That's really weird. I never understood that myself. Like I get the genetics is important, but if it's exactly the same organism, do we need them to be that many taxon?
Well, yeah, they look the same. There's a lot of organisms that have totally different looks and appearance, colors and sizes that are the same species. But then there are other ones where they look exactly the same. And I don't know, obviously they're using markers that are accepted to determine, that they are different species. But, some of the discoveries are not, or a lot of discoveries I've seen are just kind of re-identifying species or, splitting 1 species into 6 species.
Right. I mean, that's a thing that's been coming up with in the Isopod community a lot, is that we're finding species before they're officially classified. So there's a lot of risk there that it's going to affect, or wipe out indigenous populations before they even know what they are, or where they're from, or anything. Like, we don't really even have any information. People just collect them and put them into the market. So, and there's really not anybody.
Well, I mean,
go ahead.
I think a lot of times, they are identified. We just don't know what the names are. That's how it has been with most of the stuff that comes into the hobby. I mean, there are already voucher specimens in museums, and some of them may not have been described, but most of them have, and we also don't know, because maybe it's a different color and we think it's different, but it's not that simple. Especially with isopods, they can look so similar and not even be related at all.
Right, like they're finding out with
a lot of that comes down to genetics. Right, like they're finding out
with so much lag between us. So they're finding out with the isopods. Like, I know in particular that the Cubaris, all the species that were assumed to be Cubaris now, a lot of them are not. That they're finding out, and that's just, I don't know, it's confusing to me as a keeper. I don't have that many species of Cubaris though, so I don't know what the markers are, what they're looking for. But that's not too big of a deal.
Well, usually they dissect the male genitalia.
Okay, that's what it breaks down to.
Yeah, I mean, that's the primary thing they're looking at. I mean, there's the shape of the head and how the eyes are and how many segments of the antenna. But that's usually for maybe species or genus. But when you get, for the genus, but when you get down to species, it's more about the male genitalia. And like I say, a lot of that, collectors don't know what it is, so a lot of times they come in with one name and they find out it's not that, or sometimes they're changing names.
Oh, they're talking about somebody brought it up for ant species as well. Like, this is a problem with ant species now. There's so many ant keepers. They're not checking on what they've collected. So, and that's fair. That's fair. Is ants something that you dabbled in? I didn't see any references to any ants in any of your publications.
A lot, before I tried some of the honey pot ants, and I've raised different, some of the native ants, but I've never been that good at it, except when I don't want them. When they get into one of my aquariums and I spend months trying to kill them all. I'm pretty sure I have a pharaoh ant infestation in one of my history papers.
And that would that even affect your pharaoh ants? Yeah, they're such a pest. Pharaoh ants are such a pest. Would that even affect your a hisser colony though? Like, isn't everything just too big for a pharaoh ant, or would they get the eggs? Or
I think they're generally harmless, but if there's enough of them, they might start attacking things like newborns and stuff.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, in mass, that's kind of their thing. Yeah, you have one cricket that is dying to be on the show. He's like, yes, it's all about the male genitalia. Happy International Women's Day.
I thought that was your cricket.
No, I don't really have any crickets. I do roaches, and that's about it. I didn't hear it till my headphones went on. So,
is there
yeah, no, it's all you.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It adds a lot of. I think it's funny.
That's a saltwater reef. That's a saltwater reef tank in the background, not a cricket
Thank God it's not a gigantic cricket tank back there, well lit. What are you keeping in there? You said that tank's been up there for years and years.
It's mostly just corals. I mean, some of the only thing there that's like original from 1989 are some brown zoanthids.
Okay. I mean,
Some,
89.
some of the
That's
corals
a
in
long
there
time.
are 15 or 20 years old.
Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I just found a 125-gallon tank in the trash, and that's a responsibility. Like finding a tank that size is like a responsibility. It's not a gift. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, I can't take it down now. It's been up too long.
Yeah, it's part of the family, right?
No, I like it. Yeah, it's older than even my oldest child.
That's funny. He was here first. He has priority, the tank. So now what are these tanks behind you underneath there? Is that like feeders? What's in those tanks? The 10 gallons it looks like underneath, directly behind you?
There's a Spanish nude in one. There's a Japanese short crab in one. There were a couple, but they kill each other sometimes. And then there's a bunch of scuds. There's a giant scud colony in the other.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I'm slowly.
They're saltwater.
I think I'm slowly.
Two of the tanks are saltwater and two of them are freshwater.
Okay. That's fantastic.
So that is.
We're gonna. All
right.
People are already asking how to get signed copies of your books. Yeah, we had a $5,000 price tag.
I only sell like one a year.
That's because
they're $5,000. My prices are probably about the same. Yeah, mine are probably the same as they are on Amazon. Although I only keep one or two copies of each on hand because I don't sell them hardly.
I thought the photos were great. I thought it was just a great book, start to finish. This one, like I said, I wanted the Beetle one because that's one of the things that you're known for. But I didn't want to get into beetles. I had to resist that urge because I knew I would just be hip deep in beetles before I turned around. Oh, Thal, that's the price of Thal signs it.
I think that book has like the Eastern Hercules beetle and a couple other ones.
Oh yeah, this book has plenty of beetles. Don't get me. This book has plenty of beetles. It is. You guys are looking. That's the one. So now there were some great tips for setting animals up for exhibition. So now I noted in a lot of these is that you're talking about setting them up for like zoo or museum setups. Are you focused more on visualization, like being able to, or visibility in your own setups, or is this just like recommendations for something for the public?
I mean, some of my setups are definitely for display because there's not much of a point in keeping something for display and not being able to see it.
Yeah.
But like a lot of stuff like the beetle larvae that you're keeping in different containers, you can't really set that up for display. I mean, except for temporary.
Yeah.
Like if I used to do bug festivals, and you could show them off temporary, but if you did it for very long, they'd die. For more than a day.
Right, so they've got to be basically submerged in that soil.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because
I know very little about.
They're fine if you take them out for a while, but they eventually, if they dry up or get too stressed out, they just kind of shrink over time.
Oh, that's a shame. That'd be a shame too, because it seems to be a lot of work. I'm told that it's not, but it seems to me that beetles are a lot more work than I'm comfortable with. But I'm told that I'm totally wrong. So I'm told that they're very, very easy to keep.
They're not time consuming. It's definitely more of an art.
Okay.
you know, unless you read the book and you learn all the instructions of how to do it correctly. But you know, they don't take a lot of time, especially when they're larvae. I mean, if you give them enough food, you might not have to look at them for 6 months, 4 years.
Oh wow. Okay, so they're just good to go after that time.
And most are pretty easy. The only ones that are like really labor intensive are Goliath fish. But they're not that hard. I mean, you just got to feed them a couple times a week. They're a lot easier than a dog.
Okay, well,
and
yeah,
you don't have to take them out for a walk. Their poop doesn't smell. You just let them.
Their poop doesn't smell. That's a bonus. Oh, so Vico Bubbles. Vico Bubbles' friend Lauren says I should get some beetles. For now, I'm gonna pass. I have so many plans. I'm gonna go over my plans in another video, but yeah, I have too much going on right now. But I will definitely get into beetles. Is there one you recommend, like a starter beetle that's like a display? I've seen these flower beetles that are
find one. Unfortunately,
go ahead. Go ahead. That cricket is.
Whoa.
Oh, he's bringing me beetles. Kind of.
I'm really doing terrible with
that. We appreciate the effort. Oh, wow. Look at him.
He's actually like bright yellow. But apparently.
Okay. I like that he's kind of golden there. But the bright yellow would be really striking.
But he's not. But that one's too. It's that's the Eastern Hercules beetle. It's native from like Ohio, southern Ohio to Maryland, Florida, over to Texas.
Okay, we need some good beetles in Illinois. We don't really have any. So they want to know if there's a difference between the good mites and the bad mites. A way to tell easily what you've got.
The bad mites attached to the beetles.
So they basically attach themselves like a tick, so they'll settle in instead of roaming around.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's pretty easy. All right.
I don't know.
What is that little?
I see where this camera is. That's that beetle.
It's so hard to figure out which way the camera goes. I always point the wrong way. Look at that crown on that guy. I recently posted a video of one at the Brookfield Zoo that we have here. They have a Hercules beetle. Such beautiful thumbs.
Well, that's probably one from South America. This is the one that's native to many people's states.
Yeah. Well, this was in there. They have a whole house that's basically things that are native to Illinois.
I see where the camera is.
There he is. All right, freeze.
Oh, so they have that.
It looks just like this guy. But they gave him a smooth bottom food dish, and they put a piece of shrimp in there, and he could not get it. So I had to post a video. I was like, this is the derpiest thing I've ever seen. But he figured it out. The beetle figured it out.
Yeah, they're incredibly intelligent. I'm just kidding.
I did not get that impression from beetles. So I want to see that. I want to see that in person. They're not? Ah, I see what you're doing there. Sarcasm. Sarcasm got lost in the lag.
They fight a lot.
Well,
that's what the horns are for. Like if you have they usually don't kill each other, but if you have a couple males, and even the females will just have scratches all over them.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I see him on specials or whatever.
My camera quality, at least it looks like I can barely tell that this isn't just a blob.
We could see him pretty good when you had him right up on the camera. That was pretty good quality there. So you don't need anything big to keep those in. What are you keeping that guy in? Is that a display beetle, or is that just in a tub type of situation? What is their setup like?
These are, well, I have a couple that I have in a 10-gallon tank, but when they're raised from larvae, they're in just like a 16-ounce deli cup for their whole month for a year and a half or two.
That would be crazy to me to keep
individually.
Them like that. Yeah, yeah.
I've seen so many. They can be kept together, but
doesn't it kind of add to stress? And some species are pretty predatory. The grubs, the larvae.
Yeah, I mean, some of the grubs can be kept together. Some kill each other. It all depends too how much, the density. Because even the ones that be kept together, if there's way too many, they'll end up being real small and will die.
Okay.
Kind of like keeping 50 fish in a bowl.
God. Yeah. Don't do that, folks. Don't do that. They're not jelly beans.
Really
okay. Yeah, and if you have a really big bowl, use it for something else. Come on, beetle grubs. What are you doing? Larva? Do we call them grubs? Is that not recommended?
Larvae.
Larvae, not grubs. Grubs isn't the word you want to use.
No, that's fine. I call them grubs or larvae. It doesn't really matter.
I've just always liked that word. I don't know why. So, beetles aren't that hard to keep on display, right? Beetles aren't that hard to keep on display, but then when you have other species that are like nocturnal, very shy, basically blind, like we could go back to the tailless whip scorpion, what would be some tips? Because I noticed in your book that you were kind of like, yeah, it's not natural for them to be up against the glass with this kind of light over here, but at the same time, they don't get stressed by it at any rate. So there's no point, like, why have it if you can't see it? Because in my opinion, the way I look at it is that if you're digging them out to see them, that's way more stress than just having them kind of comfortable in a hide or their most comfortable spaces against the glass.
Well,
no?
With the emblem pigeons, they like to kind of hang under a board or a piece of bark or a piece of cork bark. So you just angle it against the back of the tank and make that the only hide spot, and then they're all right there. But the back of the tank, but it's not the back of the tank. You're doing it against the front so that you see them the whole time. A lot of displays will do that with roaches too. The winged ones that like to stay up on surfaces. That works really well.
Okay. And they put them up so they can see them. So you're basically outsmarting the insect.
You're giving them a beautiful home that forces them to be visible.
I love that mentality. That is exactly the mentality that I have. So I was getting some grief from some ant keepers from my ant setup that I made because they don't ever have like full darkness in their tunnels, and I basically forced them to go into the tunnels they need. That was the only option for them, basically, is the tunnels that I made for them. And they seem very, very happy. They haven't moved out yet. They have other options now, but they're still in the tunnels I created. So I like that mentality that, yeah, you're making them this beautiful home where they don't have predators. They have food on tap, basically. All their needs are cared for. All you ask is to see them occasionally.
Well, a lot of this stuff you need to see because you need to know if it's hungry or if it's, if they're attacking each other.
Yeah, check on their status. Right, and digging them out is not a good option. Clams have feelings too. I don't know anybody that has a display clam tank. I guess saltwater keepers.
Yeah, actually, the big tank behind me has like 1 Hippopus and 3 different types of Cherdactyl clams. So
I love those clams. I love the saltwater clams.
It is a display clam tank.
Nice. Nice. See, it all came back. It all cycled back. It's working out that way. Perfect. So do you have tips? Like, are there specific species that you've found that are easier to coerce into display than others, or some that are more challenging, maybe?
I mean, a lot of times when I'll take them to a display, I'll set up like little Beanie Baby cages and with the bark the right way, or make them. So I'll take them out of a bigger, maintenance cage, and I'll put them into a little Beanie Baby cage or something, or a round cage that's flat for millipedes or something that's clear, and then I'll take it to Bug Day. I used the real big one that was here a long time shut down.
Okay.
Because I haven't had much time.
Did it shut down over the last couple of years, like a COVID thing, or did it shut down just?
No, it shut down because they got a new director, and the director didn't like bugs, so they just shut it down.
Oh.
Kind of like the National Museum had that big invertebrate section. And they're like, that takes up 1/1000th of our budget. We're just going to shut it down. Maybe it'll buy one of our pandas rent for a day.
Unreal. I think that's so crazy to make those decisions.
They had like all sorts of saltwater tanks and invertebrates and insects and stuff. And the new director didn't like them. They liked pandas better. But the pandas, the panda rent from China is really high. So just by shutting down that whole thing, I don't know, he might have got a month or two of panda rent.
Pandas suck. I'm going to go on the record. Pandas suck. Koalas suck. Sorry, pandas and koala fans. That's how we feel here at Isopod. I wanted to comment on the Beanie Baby cages too, because I think people that are into invertebrates, not only are we like an odd bunch, we say things like this, and now forever I'm going to think of Beanie Babies in cages. Like, that's what they're made for, to like keep a Beanie Baby contained. I totally get what you're saying. I totally have used those. I had 3 jumper spiders in them this year. That's definitely going to change the way I talk about things. Beanie Baby cages. Put that Beanie Baby back in its cage. Yeah, what director doesn't like bugs? What?
Director of the nature center that had a big bug day for 25 years. A couple of years they had over 10,000 people a day. Although it was all free, so it's not like they were making money off of it. And then
charge $1.
It was the National Museum in Washington. They just, they thought bugs and saltwater tanks that were just a waste of people's time. So
unbelievable. This was my
theory on
Beetle.
I gotta put this Beetle away.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize he was still out. Oh yeah. If I haven't mentioned it, Happy International Women's Day. I made a note, so I would remember. To all our ladies out there, 503. Who else? Little Ophi. Rick, tell Kim Happy International Mother's Day or Women's Day. And happy birthday.
Today's International Women's Day.
All day. Yeah. So, and I was thinking, I thought it would be really funny. My wife shut me down because my sense of humor is so weird and twisted. I was like, I'm going to move the washing machine behind me to celebrate International Women's Day. And she was like, you're the worst person on the planet. I do all the laundry in our house, so I thought it was funny, but no. I haven't lost video yet. This is good. I would say
I don't get the
Beetles.
This one, the close lecture joke, but
What's that?
I said I didn't understand the. Was that a dishwasher joke?
A washing machine, the dishwasher, the washing machine. Yeah, I was dumb. Like that's the sexist premise is that celebrate Women's Day with the washing machine. And my wife was like, "You're the worst. Are you gonna tell him you do the laundry?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna tell him. I love women. I would just want to make fun of the joke is trying to make fun of the people that would make that joke, but it's okay." It didn't register here either. So I'm glad I didn't go through with it. Permian Exotics wants to know where you went.
Here that I use.
What's that?
I said I do have a sweeper, a vacuum cleaner down here, but I do use it myself.
Oh, good. I think we all do. We're all good doing our own chores. It's one of those outdated, dumb jokes. Sorry, I was trying to make fun of the misogyny. I was making fun of misogyny, I swear. Morris wants to know where you went to school.
I think my YouTube, or not YouTube, I don't know YouTube. I think my Facebook says I went to Encena or Sanis or something. Not really sure how YouTube, whatever it's called. Facebook put that on there a long time ago, and I just left it. It also says I'm in Michigan, which is about 3 hours away.
Okay, so Facebook lies again. Fake news.
It was just like it was auto generated by Facebook a long time ago, so I left it.
Auto generated where you went to school and where you live?
Yeah,
that's funny.
Although it was actually on the last profile because I had an old Lycos.com email, and they sold the service to India, and then they sold the email to hackers or something. Or maybe they just, and then they hacked into my Facebook account, and then Facebook just shut me down. And I don't know, in one day. They hacked into my eBay and were sold all these Bose headsets for $10 a piece. People were writing me nasty messages, but this was all in one day. So I called them, had it shut down. I turned off my Amazon account. I turned off a bunch of stuff, but the only one that stunk was Facebook because they're just you're done forever. So then I had to start a new one, but I did put it in this time, but that's what they put in 10 years ago that I was from Lansing, Michigan. And somehow it's because I did a couple of the tarantula nights in Lansing, Michigan. And somehow Facebook thought I was from Lansing, Michigan. And I'm not that far, but it's a different state.
3 hours is kind of a drive. 3 hours is kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm about that far from Lansing, Michigan myself, just in a different direction. Yeah, Morris, I'm the worst ally ever for people that make the dumbest jokes. Wally Kern had a question. So what's one of the biggest myths in the hobby, and how do you think it affects how we keep our isopods?
The biggest myths?
Is there something you see out there that's why are people still doing this? This doesn't work. Who told people to?
I'm sure there are some things. I just can't think of them right now. I know with millipedes there's this new thing that cocoa fiber kills. I don't know.
So are you for? You're against cocoa fiber, or you don't think it's pretty good?
It's harmless. There's plenty of people who've had good luck with that, with it for a long time, and then, suddenly, I don't get into that because it's just not worth the effort. But there's always a new person who's oh, this doesn't work, or this doesn't work. You can't do this, and like I said, I don't want to get into it because I might have, my car keyed and my, my tires.
No one can have a civil conversation.
I'm like, no, Google Paper is fine. It's okay. Or I know there was this one. I probably don't even want to. There's one guy who was like going off on some of the. I think I'll leave it alone. Yeah, I don't get into it just because it's not. It's just weird political, political bug stuff. I know too, like with tarantulas. I had a friend. He died recently, but I mean, he was keeping tarantulas for 40 years. Did an awesome job, and he always kept the little sponges in the cages. But like a lot for a while there, they're like, anyone who keeps a sponge in a tarantula cage is a monster. And they were going to kill all their tarantulas. That's the worst thing ever. It grows bacteria. There's always people come up with new caveats in order to be the adequate invertebrate keeper.
I do feel like there is a lot of wiggle room keeping invertebrates because they're fairly hardy and they just need their essentials. So as long as you have like a decent humidity, you've got good food and a good source of water, you're pretty solid. And somewhere for them to like feel comfortable, you're pretty solid. The rest is kind of your own choice almost.
Well, and most of them die a lot. But the thing is, most of them have thousands of babies. So in nature, only 2 out of those thousands of babies will make it to adults. So if you get 3 or 4 to maturity, then you're doing, twice as good as nature could do.
That's fair. That is fair.
And if everyone was successful, I think if every baby fly grew up within like 17 generations, it would be greater than the mass of the earth. So like if everyone did awesome and kept everything alive all the time and, bred all their stuff, then, in a very short time, within probably 6 months, there'd be more isopods than the entire mass of the earth. So you got to kill a lot of them just to keep the equilibrium of the planet. So
I'm pretty sure my dairy cows are headed that way. We're gonna flood the earth with dairy cows any minute.
Well, no, it's the entire mass of the earth will be overtaken by if every single one of your baby dairy cows survive. So
it kind of looks like
a lot
they
of your
do.
Animals. You're keeping the earth stable.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. I knew I was doing something good for the earth. Because they sure do not ever stop breeding. Dairy cows are the most insane animal I've ever kept. And I do very little for them. I feed them. I literally feed them. And that's about it. And stir the soil here and there. Add a spoonful. No big deal. Isopod apocalypse would be an interesting way to go. I don't know if interesting is the word. That would be terrifying. If you had to fight isopods for resources, I think they would take care of zombies, though. That's neither here nor there.
You just eat the isopods. One thing I did find out pretty interesting is I bought a dried deep sea isopod, and what was neat about it was it smells like dried shrimp. It doesn't smell like a dead bug or anything. It smells like a dried shrimp. I mean, which makes sense because it's a crustacean, but who knew?
That is interesting. They kind of have that smell. I had a bin. Go ahead.
I hate to cut you off, but I'm getting close to my time. I gotta go to sleep. Gotta get to work in the morning.
Absolutely. Do you have any closing advice for everybody?
Yes, yeah, I'm in the East Coast, so it's almost 9 o'clock, and I get up at 5. So.
Super early. Anybody got any last minute questions? Get them in. They put fake waxworm foosh. I bet you could. Sal, I bet you could keep them in a jar and sell them as fish bait. I think you could just use isopods as fish bait. All right, here's a better question. You think they would, like live or formerly live? Are there things you do in your setups that most of the hobby does different?
I don't like what specific thing do you have? Is there something you do that you think I might not do?
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty.
I mean,
general.
One difference is I have some of my isopods are really old, or the colonies are the isopods. Most of the isopods only live a couple years, but I mean some of them are original colonies from the 90s. So I have plastic shoe boxes from the 90s. So maybe by having a 25, 30-year-old shoe box, maybe that's better for them. But they were fine in the 90s. So it's probably not a good conclusion.
Not good now. Don't recommend it, but it worked. It worked. And that wasn't it.
Still works.
Is there? Mine are in plastic shoe boxes, not like a Nike. Is there a book that you're working on now? Any research or book in particular that you're working on right now?
I am trying to update the millipede book, but when I update, I mean like a big giant revamp. But I haven't.
Okay, it's almost like a rewrite.
Time to do it.
I mean, it's been a crazy,
kind
of a crazy year. You'll get it. You'll get it done. I believe in it. That's a book I'll get once it gets redone. The millipede book. I love a millipede, and I'm not good at them, so I need more work. I need more advice. But thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. I think it gave everybody a little bit of an insight into what it's like to be this renowned in the hobby and be a totally normal guy that keeps every kind of creature imaginable. Yeah.
I just really like bugs.
And everything else, apparently. Newts and clams and whatever else. Beetles. That one cricket.
Yeah, but I mean the crab and isopods are both crustaceans.
That's true.
And the scuds.
That's true.
They're all.
It's all related.
The scuds are pericardians too. So they have a marsupium like the isopods. The scud's in the little tank on the bottom of salt water.
Right. I'll be getting into that soon, actually. I have a scud tank built. I just have to get the scuds for it.
I believe this is the only scud tank on Earth.
Oh, all right.
Dedicated. I mean, there's a lot of scuds and a lot of saltwater tanks, but this is probably the only dedicated scud tank on.
Oh, saltwater scuds. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah,
they're not really gammas. So I think Gammarus is the genus for freshwaters, for some of the freshwater scuds.
Definitely. I'll be doing freshwater.
I've never even considered writing a book on scuds.
No, maybe don't. I don't know that anyone would read it.
I'm not even sure what to call them.
Maybe a pamphlet. Maybe a brochure on scuds.
Well, most of my books are brochures.
No way. This is a solid hardcover book with a million photos.
No, all the original books, except for the love of rhinoceros and stag beetles. All the original books are just like large pamphlets. But that was like you couldn't get someone to print those.
That's true.
I mean, you couldn't find a publisher who would put out a book on rhinoceros beetles.
Yeah, good luck, right?
I mean, now you can just because of the print on demand. So, like, if they sell 2 books, they only have to print 2 books.
I kind of like that whole way of doing things because it makes it easier for people to get published and get their books out and get creative and get their passion on paper, right? Their passion out to other people. which is definitely something that you've done. So, and I appreciate it. Well, I really appreciate it.
The thing with the print on demand is you can make this really cool monster book and you're totally unlimited. Whereas like with the smaller booklets, you know, you can only get up to 44, 48 pages before they're just they're too hard to fold. And so you had to, so all the older small books are really condensed, and some of them have extremely tiny print, or they all have small print. But
okay,
those were pretty deep at the time.
That's cool. I'd like to see some of those originals just to see them. It'd be cool, because that's kind of what started a lot of this hobby.
Almost all of them are still available.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Now I need to check that out.
Kind of. I mean, they're not. I don't mean that. I mean, they're like, I think on Amazon, most of them are still on Amazon. They're like $16.99, but that's, you know, they used to be. Well, I don't know. They used to be less.
Inflation's getting everybody.
Yeah, Yeah, that's probably it.
It's got to be. It's not markup. Well, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. My audience really appreciates it. The folks my audience brought appreciate it. We may reach out if you had a good time. Let me know, and we'll reach out and try to do something a little more focused in the future. And if you have did you have a good time? I mean, you had some laughs.
Yeah, it was nice to speak to you. What?
You had some laughs, right?
Oh my God. Yeah, all my lights are turning off down here now. Pretty soon.
Oh, it's time to go.
Pretty soon they'll be.
Clearly. All right. Well, thank you very much, Orrin.
I don't know if you've seen the lights turning off in the background.
I can't tell.
Oh,
I can't tell because all those lights are still on, but I believe you is the important thing. So we will talk to you again, hopefully, and stay in touch. Thank you very much for coming on. All right.
All right. Have a good evening.
Have a great night. Safe commute. I was a little starstruck. I'm not going to lie. I was a little flustered. Yeah, you missed it, Ants. But that's okay. You're young. Can't pay attention. That was great. I had a great time. I don't know about you guys. I had a great time. Yeah, the books have so much knowledge with, they're digestible. Like Morris said it perfectly again. Just really great photography, great information, very easy to access. Nothing in there is too intense to where you're not going to learn. Yeah, I know, right? Send them a better camera. That's the only hard part about doing this show is I'm not in charge of everybody's equipment, right? So thank God, they just come on with whatever they have, and I love it. So I think that makes it so organic and so fun. And you guys missed the fact that he was in, like, I don't know, comfy pants. I don't want to call them pajama pants, but they're probably pajama pants. And I was jealous. I was like, I'm wearing jeans like an idiot. So anyway, I hope everybody had a good time. I'm going to put links in the description for Orrin and to some of his books on Amazon. I'm going to put links to our Redbubble page. You can buy merch now if you want. I have most of it at a 0% markup. So if you want to just get it. Most of the stuff there is at a 0% markup, unless you have an iPad or an iPhone and you want an Isopod's iPad cover. That's going to cost you. So I feel like if you can afford an iPad, you can give me some money. So we also have a Patreon that we had just launched. So we are going to throw that up too. No, thank you guys. You guys are why we do this. So you're going to see a lot of changes here in the future. I just came up with a whole new layout for the show and a whole new wonderful backdrop. We're going to switch everything up. No centipedes. No. Yeah, I will put the titles up or the links up. There's a million titles for his books. You just have to search Orin McMonigle on Amazon. But we're going to have a backdrop that is tanks and setups and tubs and Lego. And to the side will be other animals. To the other side will be a huge riparium. And then eventually my massive paludarium. I think the riparium is going to be a lot easier to build. So we're going to do that. For those of you that don't know, because I'm blocked on Facebook right now, I recently found a 125-gallon tank in the trash. So I'm going to reseal it, and we're going to set it up as a riparium with nanofish and nano shrimp. We got a lot coming. Rick, you're going to be helping me, so hopefully get that going on. I just want a communal tarantula wall. So right up the wall. So wife won't even know. Just 50 or 60. No, I'm not doing that. I got banned on Facebook, blocked on Facebook this time for 30 days because I made a joke about burning down 2 burrito shops in my town that suck. Don't do that. Don't threaten fire. Every time I mention the word fire, I've gotten a warning or locked off of Facebook. Yeah. The last time was for 10 days, and that was because I saw a picture of a wasp nest that the wasps had built around a mask of a human face, and it was terrifying. And yeah, I didn't care for it. So I said I would burn down my whole neighborhood to get rid of it just to make sure, and that was apparently not a joke. So yeah, I feel like if you're willing to burn down a neighborhood to kill wasps, you're a new kind of psychopath. Yep, you're here a little late, Snipes. Sorry, buddy. I will not be live streaming NARBC. Maybe for a little bit. If you're going to NARBC, let me know. Facebook message me. I'm going to set up a messenger group so we can all get together for at least a photo op. There's going to be at least half a dozen people there from Isobuddies, at least, or the community, at least, that we have. It's going to be me, Wally. This is all Saturday. Me, Wally, Rick from Ophi Spider-Verse, Scott Wesley, Kyle Bunch, who was here earlier. Who else? Ryan Pavey from the Springtails episode last week. That was so popular. I think that's it so far. That's all the people that I know of, because, again, I can't get on Facebook. So somebody put something up on Facebook on Isobuddies and see who's going. Let's find out who's going. And, yeah, come on up. Take a bus. So let's find out who's going, and we'll all get together. I want to set up a Facebook Messenger group so we can all stay in contact and not be on top of each other throughout the whole show. We can just be like, hey, man, let's meet up here at noon. Boom. Then we can sit and BS for a little bit and go from there. So, cool, kids? Yeah, cool, because it's still cold up here in the Midwest. Yeah, Kyle's going to be there talking about his new business. Oh, in fact, Thursday, again, this is all new stuff. Sorry, guys. There's so much coming down the pipes. I really want to branch out. So Thursday, we're going to do a second video this week. We did 2 last week. Actually, technically, I did 3. We're going to do a second video Thursday. We're going to have Kyle Bunch on from Isopods Anonymous. We are going to do basically an infomercial for him. So he's just starting full-time his business. This may or may not be a series. If it goes well, Kyle, no pressure. If it goes well, we're going to do more of these to try to promote not just friends of the channel, just keepers and sellers that I believe in personally. So it's not that Kyle's the first keeper that I believe in personally, because he still owes me $10. But I do believe in him personally and his products. So we are definitely going to have him on. As you all know, I really love Isopod Chow. It's delicious. But I want to do that semi-often. Do like an infomercial for people. Come on the show. Pimp your business. Maybe half an hour. So we'll do a live stream. If you have any questions for him, we'll do that. Again, that'll be a short show, I think. Unless we really start vibing. I'm not going to put a time limit on it. You know what I'm saying? But regular time, 8:30 Thursday. Yeah, while he's bringing Nanette, he's going to coast on her coolness. Oh, and if you show up at NARBC and you see Rick and Ophi, it's Ophi's birthday. Wish her a happy birthday, because she is a sweetheart and adorable. So, yeah, that's it, guys. Anybody got any questions? Oh, shit, Kyle's got a surprise for me at Tinley. I saved the swears till Orrin left. I felt bad. That lag was killing me. All right. If we got nothing else. Ooh, Isopod name tags. I need to do that. I was going to do that last time. I may still have the stickers. Ooh, I got to look and see in my stuff if I still have the stickers. I may still have them. All right. If I do, I'm going to bring the Isopod stickers that I made already because they're already made and I'm lazy and they were a lot of fun. So they're very, very basic and fun, but they're stickers. So have a good night, you guys. Love you guys. Stay cool. Stay chill. Peace out.